Good morning, students. Today we are going to do the last part of the chapter, How can parties be reformed? What do you mean by reformed? Reformed means change for the betterment or change in such a way as to be improved. So the question comes, are the political parties willing to be reformed? Because we have seen in earlier part that there were so many loopholes in the political system of our country, and we have seen there are so many challenges in the political party. So in order to face these challenges, political parties need to be reformed. So the question is that if the political parties, especially the political leaders, are they willing to change themselves? If they are willing, what has prevented them from reforming so far? So many years onwards, we are seeing these challenges in the political party. So what is that which is preventing them from reforming or changing for the betterment? And if they are not willing, is it any possible way that we can change them? Can citizens all over the world face such a question? Now, this is not a simple question to answer. If you think that it is easy, let me tell you that if you ask any political party or any political leader, they will definitely deny that they don't want to change. Why is it so? Because today in our country, elections have become a race. So everyone want to become the leader of the country. Everybody want to form the ruling government. And we have seen that how money and muscle power are playing so much important role in this formation of this government. But when we talk about in a democracy, we always see the final decision is made by the leaders who represent the political parties. We have also seen one of the challenge that it is only the few leaders who take the major decisions in the political parties. So if these major leaders changes their minds, then definitely we can reform the political parties. People can replace them, but only another set of party leaders. What happens in our country? So many years onward, we have seen one party was ruling. Then we are seeing the other party is ruling. But are there any changes in the political system? Is there any reformation in this political system? No, only the leaders are keeping changing, that's all. So if all of them do not wish to reform, how can anyone force them to change? So do you think as a citizen of India, will you be able to force these leaders or these parties to change themselves? That is again a question mark there. So let us look at some of the recent efforts and suggestions in our country to reform political parties and leaders. Some of the organizations like Constitution, Supreme Court, these have given some amount of suggestions. They are not that they are compulsory or mandatory or they are being forced to do that. They are only suggestions given by some of these institutions so that there can be some changes in these political parties. So let us see the first reform suggested by the Constitution of our country. The Constitution was amended to prevent elected MLAs and MPs from changing parties. This was done because many elected representatives were indulging in defection. Let us see first of all what is this. There was an amendment done by the Constitution in 1985 to prevent the defection. Amendments, the changes in the laws, that, and we know that how it is done. It is done when the both the houses of the parliament approves and at least half of the legislative assemblies have to approve, then only that bill can become a law. So in 1985 an amendment was made which is known as anti-defection law. It was included in the constitution by Rajiv Gandhi government as a part of the 10th schedule of the Indian Constitution. Article 190 of the Indian Constitution deals in the anti-defection law. Children, this is not there. I have just given a little more information to you about this anti-defection law. Now we come to the what is the meaning of defection. In glossary, it is given as changing party allegiance from the party on which a person got elected to a different party. Children, in easy words, it means someone who leaves a political party after the elections and joins an opposing party. That is known as defection. Now, why do you think that defection takes place? Or a person who gets elected from one party changes the party? It is all for the cash rewards which is done in our country, or in any country it is done for the cash reward. So that is what is given here. Let me read it again, children, this part. The constitution was amended to prevent elected MLAs and MPs from changing party. That means anti-defection law was made so that to prevent MLAs and MPs to change the party, especially after the elections. This was done because many elected representatives were indulged in defection. They were changing the parties in order to become the ministers or for cash rewards. And now, the law, what is this anti-defection law further says? It says that if any MLA or MP changes the party after the elections, then definitely he or she will lose his or her seat in the elections or in the parties. Let me just show you this. Yes. So, if any MLA or MP changes the party, then that person, he or she, whosoever it is, will lose the seat in the legislature. So that is a new law under the anti-defection law which is given over here. This new law has helped bring defection down to some extent. Yes, Constitution was successful in doing so. Now also we see defection, but yes, we don't see that much amount of defection which we used to see earlier. At the same time, this has made many dissent even more difficult. MPs and MLAs have to accept whatever the party leaders decide. Now, when we talk about anti-defection law, it has definitely uh, stopped this defection, or it has brought down the defection down. Now the MPs and MLAs are not changing the political parties after the elections frequently, but there is a negative impact of this also, of this law. Now what is that negative impact? Suppose you are contesting election from X party, and you have won the elections, but you you don't like the what the leaders are taking the decisions. Even if you don't like the decisions which are taken by the leader, you have to be there in that party, because this law has been passed which says that you cannot change the party after the elections. So this law, anti-defection law, if it has one positive role, it has also the negative role to play. So MPs and MLAs, they cannot change the parties and they have to accept whatever the party leaders decide. So that is one negative point of this law also. So that is your first reformation or suggestions for the reformation of the political parties. We have now the second suggestion. Now, what is the second suggestion? Second suggestion is about given by Supreme Court. Supreme Court has passed an order to reduce the influence of money and muscle power and especially the criminals. We have seen that again one of the most important challenge of political party is money and muscle power. They play a very important role. The big parties spend lots of money during the election campaigning and their chances of winning are more. In the same way, if the criminals contest the elections, their chances of winning elections are more because the other candidates are afraid of that person. So Supreme Court again has passed an order. It is mandatory for every candidate who contests elections to file an affidavit giving details of his property and criminal cases pending against him. So Supreme Court says that whosoever contesting elections, for that person it is compulsory that that person has to file an affidavit in which there will be all the details of how much properties that person is owning and any criminal cases pending against him. This all information they have to give in an affidavit to the election commission. So I'm telling what is affidavit. It can be used for many purposes. They are most often filed with the court to show that specific information is true. So affidavit will include, affidavit is a kind of application in which all the details of that person who is contesting election will be there, which mainly includes all the details of his assets and any criminal cases which are pending against such person. So that will be given to the election commissioner. So then only that person can be allowed to contest the election. So this new system has made a lot of information available to the public. Children, we all know that there is what we call it as right to information. So as a public, we all have right to know all the details of a person who is contesting elections. So this affidavit has made a lot of information available to the public. But children, it is only a suggestion or a rule made by the Supreme Court, but nobody knows whether there is this system is being checked or not, whether the information which is given by these candidates that is appropriate or not. There is nobody to check these details. So we do not know whether the person is giving a true details or a false details. Yes, as yet, we do not know if it has led to decline in the influence of the rich and the criminals. And we also do not know that whether this has reduced the money and muscle power or not. So that is the second reform suggested by the Supreme Court. Let us come to the third one, which is passed by the Election Commission. What is the Election Commission? It is the organization which completely conducts the elections in our country. It has passed an order making it necessary for political parties to hold their organizational elections and also file their income tax returns. What is the election commission has suggested? It has suggested that every political party must have their elections. Within their party there should be elections and every member of the party must file their income tax returns. This is to show that their income is genuine and they are paying the taxes. So to show this, the election commission has passed this order. Again children, whether this order is being checked by the election commission, whether they are filing the income tax returns or not, nobody knows this. The parties have started doing so, but sometimes it is mere formality only. There are some parties which are doing so, but sometimes it is only a mere formality. So because there is nobody to check them whether they are being uh, true information they are filing or not, there is nobody to check. So it is not clear if this step, it is not clear that if this step is, just a minute children. Okay, it is not clear that if this step has led to greater internal democracy in political parties. So although election commission has passed this suggestion, nobody knows that whether the political parties are really implementing this or not. Really there are democratic elections in the political parties or not. Nobody knows all these. So these are only the suggestions which are made by these three organizations. Besides these, many other suggestions are often made to reform the political parties. Other than these, many other suggestions have been made. So let's see all of them also. A law should be made to regulate the internal affairs of political parties. These are only suggestions, as I told you children. They are not the something which has to be forced upon these political parties. That is why we see, since they are not forced, then we see that there is no change in the political parties. So it is said that a law should be made which can regulate the internal affairs of political. Who makes our laws, children? We have already done in earlier part. It is the political parties which frames the laws. So do you think that they will frame such laws which will make some reformation in their political parties? Do you think they will agree for these things? Definitely not. It should be made compulsory for all the political parties to maintain a register of its members. So every political party should have a register. They should follow all the norms. They should have the registered names of all the members, to follow its own constitution, to have an independent authority, to act as a judge in case of the party disputes, to hold open elections to the highest posts. All these are only suggestions, that they should have proper register maintained, they should have proper elections for all the posts, especially the higher posts in their political parties. But how far they are being agreed by the political parties, again is a question mark. Next one, it should be mandatory for the political parties to give a minimum number of tickets, at least one third of the tickets, to the women candidates. Really, children? Do you see that in Lok Sabha elections or in legislative elections, the women are being given one third of the seats? I don't think so. They don't give one third of the seats to the women. Yes, in local government, because it has been made mandate, it is a law that they should give two-third seats to the women. In local government, they are being given, but not in the Lok Sabha, not in the Legislative Assembly. So it is a suggestion that one third of the seats should be, or one third of the tickets should be given to the women candidates to contest the elections. Similarly, there should be a quota for women in the decision making bodies of the party also. If we talk about the cabinet ministers of our country, even at present the cabinet ministers, children, how many women members are there in these cabinet ministers? Just find out and let me know when I'll take your online class, that at present in the cabinet ministers, how many women leaders are there. So the thing will be clear to you, that although it is only a suggestion, the women candidates are not given any highest authority or a post in the decision making process. Maybe only one or two women members are there in the whole of the cabinet members. So let's see the third one. There should be a state funding of elections. We have seen that every political party spends crores of rupees during the election campaigning, and the major parties who have lots of money, generally they win the elections, because They spend lots of money and sometimes even they bribe the people. But the small parties, political parties, they are not able to stand in the race of elections because they do not have that much money power. So to curb this money power, it is suggested that the state government or the central government should fund the elections. That means every political party, if suppose example, if or there are Lok Sabha elections and there are 5 political parties which are contesting elections. So all the political parties, if they are given 1 crore each for the election campaigning, then they have to spend only that much amount. Nobody can spend more than that. And it is not necessary that the government should give only money to these political parties. The government can even pay in kind. Now, what I mean by kind, in kind means the government can give in petrol, paper, telephone, etc. during the election campaigns to all the political parties equally. So that is how every party will spend at least a limited amount of money and there will be no money power which will be played in the elections, which we see often in our country. So these suggestions have not yet been accepted by the political parties. If and when these are accepted, these could lead to some improvement in our country. If all these suggestions which are given or which we studied just now, if they are really implemented by the political parties, definitely we will see a new phase of democracy in our country, children, or a new phase of political parties in our country. We will not see this much of challenges, this much of money and muscle power, this much of corruption also we will not see in our country if these suggestions are really followed by these political parties. But we must be very careful about legal solutions to the political problems. Over regulation. What happens when these are suggestions? So it is up to the political parties whether they are followed or not. Sometimes if these suggestions completely becomes the law and they become mandatory for all the political parties to follow that laws, then the political parties also will find some ways to counterproductive also. They will find some ways again to cheat these laws also. So that is what is given. They can even cheat these laws. So there can be more amount of corruption if these suggestions are forced upon the political parties. So besides, political parties will not agree to pass a law that they do not like. And we all know, as I told you, it is the political parties which frames the laws. So why do you think that they will frame such laws which will go against them? No political party will do so. There are two other ways in which political parties can be reformed. These are just suggestions again. That is the people also are giving the suggestions that there can be two more ways the political parties be reformed. We always talk about the corruption in the political parties or corruption in the democratic country, but we never ourselves take part in this democratic or in the political parties, or we never take part in the election process properly, nor we are interested in taking part in the democratic system of our country. So the suggestions are, people can put pressure on political parties. Now it says that the people, we make the government. So we can put a pressure on the political parties so that they can change their own norms, and this can be done through the petitions. Like nowadays you might be seeing on online petitions are being signed. Many times I see on Facebook, Instagram and all these websites, we see that people are signing the petitions. For example, we have seen for Sushant Singh Rajput, the petition has been signed that the case should be taken over by CBI. So in the same way, if the people of our country, they start filing these petitions that the political parties must be reformed and there can be agitations, then definitely there can be some change in our country. Ordinary citizens, pressure groups, and movements and media. We all know that media plays a very important role in doing so. So we all can play an important role in this, in bringing a change in these political parties. Other than that, those people who wish to change really the political scenario of our country, they must take part in these political parties. So, if we the people want to change the political parties, system of the political parties, or reform these political parties, we must take part in these political parties. So, we can join the political parties and we can change the face of the political parties. That is how we can do some kind of say we can give our own contribution to change these political parties. Children, the quality of democracy depends on the degree of public participation. Now this is a question here, you can put them in the inverted commas and justify the statement. The question is justify the statement. That means the democracy's quality will improve only if large amount of people will participate in the process of, in the election process, in the process of making of political parties, in the process of making the democratic government. If we participate, those who want to change the face of the political parties, then definitely the quality of the democracy will improve. It is difficult to reform politics if ordinary citizens do not take part in it. You simply sit on a corner of that and we simply talk that the political parties are very much corrupt, or democracy in our country is very much corrupt. It is not going to help unless until we ordinary citizens take part in it, and we just sit in a one corner and criticize it from outside. The things are not going to change. We have to enter into the political parties if we really want to change the face of this politics. The problem of bad politics can be solved by more and better politics. So today's generation, the young generation like you, if you people really with good ideas, good ethics, if you enter into the political parties, definitely we can change the face of our party. We shall learn to this theme in the final chapter. So that completes your chapter, children. Go through all my videos carefully, and I have discussed also many questions in between the chapter. Please go through those questions, try to give the answers. We will again discuss the answers in the online class when we'll discuss the back questions as well as the questions in between the chapters. And please go through and you also search the websites, find some more information. As I told you, the latest cabinet members, etc., you can find out, children. It's a very interesting chapter, and it's very interesting that if you take part in the politics, definitely. So have a good day, students. That's all for today.